Always, guys, respect the pump. I respect the pump in all assets. Why? Because it's kind of like karma. You know, the power of the pump always comes back to you if you respect the pump of other people. It's crazy, but I have this belief that whatever pumps, you have to pay respect. Because otherwise, if you're like, oh my God, this scam coin is pumping again, actually you are kind of rejecting the pump from your life. Maybe it's a bit out there, you know, woo-woo, but
GM, welcome back to the channel. In this one, we have Bitcoin on the precipice of a major breakout here. It's holding just around 71K this morning. Got some major news to go through with huge ETF inflows, what that means in terms of second order effects. Going to look at a few different narratives in the market and some leading coins in there. And then we're going to end things off with a bit of fun as well. So if you enjoyed this one, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Let's jump in. So question of the day, can we now start to hold 70,000 USD as the kind of price floor for Bitcoin and use that as the launch pad from here? So I was just listening to Eric Crown's analysis. To the upside, Wednesdays have been one of the more bullish days when they do play out towards the upside, offering somewhere around a 4% move. So that would essentially take us from here back to the all-time highs at around 73, 74K. So if we did get that kind of move play out here, this would look super, super bullish. I mean, it already does look very good indeed. We have been hurt before though, with these kind of pushes up into this territory. And then you can see some of these candles here have been absolutely comedic on the way down and left us in pain. So definitely some PTSD on the charts, but Bitcoin looking very constructive here. Now, what we've just seen and witnessed is a huge ETF inflow day. I read up some information as well from Andrew Kang, who had tweeted something along the lines of the ETFs are about to have their phase 2. And he was essentially saying that a lot of the kind of marketing from the ETF issuers is really starting to ramp up again. And he was expecting we see multiple hundreds of millions of dollars inflows as just a normal thing now. So this would be real rocket fuel. And as you can see here, 4th of June inflow, 886 mil. So an absolutely massive one. Bull case for this, of course, if we get any follow through on this number, game theory is going to suggest people are going to start to rush to buy more Bitcoin because you can see the suits or the people they're buying for. So I guess mainly boomers or people who want easy access in the US. Well, you want to front run these people if there is consistent bid coming into the market. So that will obviously be a positive. Now, there is a bear case here as well, because I think it was on the 12th of March, we had a huge inflow day. And afterwards, Bitcoin just started to correct really hard afterwards. So we had huge inflows mark tops previously. And then when there was this blow off bottom, the kind of 56K dip, that was due to the ETFs selling off like crazy as well. So it could be reflexive. So we'll just wait and see what happens. But the second order effect here is going to be the ETH ETF, which is expected to go live within the next month, I believe. We've started to see some good prediction models come out. I think Invest Answers used this one yesterday. And this one is a good model, to be fair. Trade the Flow is the guy who produced this one. Goes into like kind of the backstory of how he's come up with these figures. And there is a lot of data in there. So very interesting, but we'll just do a high level overview of what is the bear case, bull case, and maybe base case in the middle here. So he's saying, look, if the ETH ETF gets an expected market share of the Bitcoin ETFs, at around 10%, so 10% of the inflows, that would be the bear case. And this would have an implied net inflow by the end of this year of $1.39 billion. And so he's saying we can extrapolate that out to a price point of 4,400 USD for ETH. So on the same basis, 25% and 50% of the flows, you can see we have these numbers, 5,300 as the base case for ETH by the end of this year, 2024, 6,700 as the bull case there. So if we just look at Ethereum, and I've pulled all the charts, we're going to go up here on the 3-month because it's been 3 months of consolidation we've had since the previous leg up. This has been the kind of reaccumulation phase, if you will, for Bitcoin. So as you can see, ETH pretty much back at the price it was at the start of that previous peak and then consolidation period. So ETH's at 3,800 bucks. If it goes to like 5.5, the kind of middle of the road case, you're going to be looking at a market cap of Ethereum somewhere in the region of 750 bill. If you go into the bull case, you're pushing towards a high hundreds of billions of dollars in market cap, you're looking at ETH potentially becoming $1 trillion asset at this point. So what would be the downstream effects of that again? Well, currently we have 455 bill for ETH and 80 bill for Solana. So if we just extrapolate that out, if Ethereum goes up to say $750 billion, well, we know that the pricing of crypto assets is often based on what's the market leader at, what's the competition at, is there a disparity between the two, should that gap close or not? And that's kind of what traders typically price things off, because it is very difficult to actually price crypto assets. And during a bull market, they go way too high. They get overvalued. In the bear markets, they become undervalued. But this is to say, I think if we do get that kind of follow through in the ETH ETF, Solana will obviously mark up as well. And there will be chatter around a Solana possible ETF. So I do think by the end of this year, to get to like $400-500 Sol definitely is not out of the question. This was an interesting chart posted by Atlas Trades, looking at Sol market cap dominance. End of last cycle, around here, start of 2022 and 2021, Sol dominance hit its peak around 3% or just over 3%. And as you can see, that previous area of resistance, the previous top, then became kind of looks like is being clipped into here, broken above, dropped down into, tested as a support, and is now kind of squeezing. I think the other chart he posted maybe encapsulates this one. It's squeezing in here and potentially is going to break out again. And I would expect Sol dominance to go up, as it does seem to be the home of new retail, the home of thriving new meme coins. There's a lot of apps coming to Solana as well, which could, bring in a lot of normies, Drip House and others. So I am very interested to see how this plays out. But I do think Sol dominance in this market continues during the bull run. Now, a quick look at some memes on the 3-month time frame again here, just eyeballing things. Generally, ETH has kind of a capped upside, or it's not going to grow that quickly because it's such a huge asset. But things like Pepe have shown that they can put on huge amounts in market cap in a short period of time, because around here, which is at the end of April, Pepe was like a 3 billion asset. It hit over 7 billion here at the end of May, currently consolidating around 6.2 billion in market cap. So Pepe looking really strong. The meme coins have been the leaders in this cycle. And until that fails to be the case, this is probably where you should have most of your attention. So we're seeing that Pepe looks super strong. In terms of WIF, obviously acts as Sol beta. We have WIF at $3.50. This is a 3-month chart on WIF here. And again, looks very constructive indeed. Seems like it's coiling up, ready for a break. The recent one to $4. I think if we can break above that, that chart will just paint a very bullish structure. WIF's at 3.5 bill, pretty much has to do a 2x to reach where Pepe just reached. And I think what you're going to see in terms of those relative valuations is you want these to really set in the stage here. And with that, it will bring the smaller meme coins along with them, such as this one, which is MOG. This is one of my favorites, to be honest with you, probably because I've got in very early on MOG. I understood MOG and putting on the Vipers very early on. And it actually was the coin that got me into WIF as well, as enhancing the profile picture with the glasses or goggles, as Trump calls them, for MOG. Same as putting on the hat for WIF. I just really understood the virality of that. Now, MOG similarly has recently broken out. This area is previous all-time high resistance, but it has seemingly been flipped as a support here. MOG at around $500 million, just over $500 million. It's starting to get some big listings. Bybit listed this week on spot. I think this will be the kind of tier below Pepe's, your WIFs, etc. And this could be a big runner, because 500 mil market cap versus stuff that's $3, $5, $7 billion. I think these are decent targets for it to go and hit during this cycle. Moving on to a different narrative here, we have AI, and this is my main AI bag. And I think it is more important to have a directional bet within a narrative rather than really just like think about it too much. Like, what coin do I need to own in AI? There's probably like 5 tokens in the AI basket: Render, Tau, Nosana, Akash, those are ones that just come to my mind that are just very easy, obvious plays that they're going to move together anyway. So as long as you're allocated to some of those leaders, maybe dependent on where you can trade due to jurisdiction, which tokens have liquidity on maybe the venues where you have your funds. In terms of just having directional exposure to AI, I think is very important. Maybe Render and Tau become like the number 1 and number 2 here. IONET is launching very soon. Really interested in that one as well. But generally just having directional bet is going to be more important than the coin selection, I do believe. Now we have market cap of $4 billion. I think the market cap of the AI sector, if we just pull that up, is pretty damn low. 40 billion only, which is pretty crazy. We just go back. So 40 billion for the entire sector seems rather low for something that is definitely going to bubble with the impacts of AI in the broader world. And as you can see here, Render has just been basing off $10. You can see at $10 level, someone is definitely stepping in and buying at that level. And I think this is forming a very nice base for a move higher. I think AI also a leading category of this cycle, quite obviously. Moving on to another narrative, which is crypto gaming. Echelon Prime has kind of a narrative of AI and gaming mixed in as well, because they use AI agents within their game. Now, I do think generally crypto gaming will be one of the later runners in the market cycle. When there's been a wealth effect, people go out the risk curve and start bidding these things up. That is what happened last cycle. I could see the kind of reasons why that would happen again. And for me, meme coins, AI coins, gaming coins are the kind of areas I want to nail. And then I'll be happy with whatever's been made, cash up the majority of the portfolio, chill the F out, not chase every single pump. Now, Prime here, not as constructive, but it looks like it would be in the early stages of if we can form a few higher lows from here, maybe start printing some $20 kind of candles and above, this thing will start to look very good again. But this will be probably one of the leaders in the gaming sector. So until this really does turn around and start pumping, I think the rest of them are going to be laggards. And as you can see here from Crown, which is my other pick, so I've got good bags of Prime and Crown mainly. This one has sold off rather badly, but I do want to highlight something here. So Crown to be listed on MEXC on March 12th. We just go to March 12th, somewhere around here. So back then, March 12th, Crown was $1.45. Gets the MEXC listing, and then it is pretty much down only since that listing happened. So what I've noticed is 2 exchanges, MEXC and Gate.io, they have been kind of the kiss of death for price action on a short-term basis for coins that get listed there. So it would seem that their listing teams have maybe some nefarious activities and are just dumping the tokens they're supposed to be market making with. And I've seen a few people, tinfoil hat time, make some good points around conspiracies around those exchanges as well. So this is just a warning. I do not know for sure that that's what they've been doing, but it does seem rather fishy. And I've looked at a few different charts for different tokens and similar things have happened. Now, this will turn around at some point. I think Crown Photo Finish is going to be a big winner in the gaming cycle, but obviously as a bag holder, patience is going to be needed for a chart like that to recover. Now, major news today is the fact that BNB has become the second big altcoin to actually break its all-time highs. So of course, a lot of small caps, new coins have broken all-time highs, but in terms of the bigger, more established players in the market, the BNB token, Binance and Binance Smart Chain has actually broken out. So this, as Blunt says, it's a bee's dick away from all-time highs. It has now broken all-time highs since he posted this around 8 hours ago. And he says BNB being the second major to hit all-time high after Bitcoin was not on my bingo card. And totally agree with that, was not on my bingo card either, but chart looking pretty good there. What we saw recently was Binance come out and say, look, we don't want to be listing these low float, high FTV coins anymore. It's obviously not good for the user base. And if no one's making money on your exchange, people are going to stop using the exchange. And we've seen more and more traders become on-chain traders specifically. So it does seem that maybe there's a bit of a undercurrent brewing here for Binance. They've started to delist some old Dino coins, and I think they're going to start listing a load of new sexier altcoins and giving them some deep liquidity on Binance, which could be rocket fuel. Now, the kind of BSC movement from last cycle could well be that kind of muscle memory for people coming back into the market, because this was a place, PancakeSwap in particular, very fond memories, where there was just ridiculous gains being made. You could buy a shitcoin that was trending a little bit, and then a couple of days later be up like 2, 3, 4, 5x, which was just insanity. Of course, this was reflexive to the downside. Everything nuked at some stage, but a lot of fun was had. So whether they set up a BSC season again, probably worth having some tentacles out there and keeping up to date. Athena is another exchange on Binance. This is a 3-month chart. If you were able to, this is actually the 1-year chart. If you were able to buy this during the lows, you'll be up huge percentages. And this is a kind of token where the revenues generated by the platform are given back to token stakers. So if you do have a VE fee position, you might be making some serious buck during this cycle. One quick notification here, Tapioca DAO Genesis on the 11th of June, just around 6.5 days from today. This will be launching as an LBP, liquidity bootstrapping pool. So there will be like an auction price. The price will start to creep down if people aren't bidding, but it will spike up if people do bid. Now, the way that this will function, it will be open for 2 days. And then at the end of that period, they will give you an option to buy, I believe, an additional 50% at half price. So the kind of strategy would be, if you have your bid amount, so say you want to put in $1,000, you would DCA that in during the LBP mechanic, and then keep the 1/3 back, and then use that for the options that you'll be able to buy at discount afterwards. But that is definitely a DeFi protocol I'm very much interested in. This has been long awaited. This one will be a banger. It may well go under the radar in terms of a normie crowd, but the guys in DeFi who are shit hot will be bidding this thing, so I do expect it to do very well. Let's end up with meme of the day. The caption is, normal people's faces when they see that you own over $1,000 worth of cryptocurrency. Well, end things off there. Hope you have a good one. Peace.